We now know that everything in that call is not what happened. The arrest warrants that I have here say everything in that call is not true. Will, the warrants use strong language here, saying that both parents showed, and I want to read quote for quote here, extreme indifference to human life.
You need to hear this call. A mother tells 911 her daughter is missing. She sounds terrified. She sounds real. But here's promise number 1. This call is a lie. And you're about to hear exactly how deep that lie goes. Her name was Javeayah Harris. She was 4 years old. She loved chickens. She loved playing outside. And by the time her mother picked up the phone to report her missing, she had already been dead for weeks. That's promise number 2. The search you're about to see? Helicopters, drones, hundreds of volunteers walking fields for days. None of it could have saved her. It was already too late before it even began. Her parents, Michelle Herring and Javeayah Harris, told police she wandered off near the chicken coop behind their home. They described her pajamas, pink, Minnie Mouse. They described beads in her hair. They gave detectives a perfect, heartbreaking description of a little girl who no longer existed. You're going to hear that 911 call in a moment. Listen closely. Listen to how calm she sounds. Listen to how specific the details are. Then ask yourself how anyone could describe a living child that convincingly, knowing she was already gone.
Oh my God.
Okay, I'm on the way to you. Just to confirm, where was she in the house when you saw her last?
No, she wasn't in the house, ma'am. She been playing outside today. And
Okay.
She asked me, can she play for a little bit more before it got dark, and I said yes. And I literally, her bath water is in the tub, ran, and dinner is cooking, and I came out here to get her, and I can't even find her.
Okay, is there a certain place she likes to play outside?
Usually in the chicken coop, and that's usually where I find her every day. And I just looked in here, and she's not in here.
From there, the questions.
Me and my husband just now purchased in this house. I don't know about this area much, but it's not a good area. I'll tell you that. It's not good.
Okay, you say you searched the woods. Is that behind your house?
Yes, it's like a pathway right behind my house. And we usually take the dog sometimes in the woods to just let them run. And she'll come, so I know she knows about the woods. And but I look down the same pathway that we walk, and I did not see her.
Because 2 parents chose to lie. Bethel Baptist Church became a staging ground, feeding volunteers between search shifts. Digital billboards displayed her photo along the highway. Strangers who never met this family stopped their cars just to ask how they could help. Then the memorial started growing. Balloons, stuffed animals, pink candles left outside a house where a 4-year-old had already been gone for weeks. That's the detail that should stop you cold. People were praying outside the exact house where the truth was buried. Every helicopter pass, every volunteer shift, every candle lit at that memorial. All of it happened after the tragedy had already occurred, in a home where her parents already knew the outcome. So why did they let it happen? Why let strangers cry over balloons at a memorial for a little girl they knew would never come home? While the entire state searched the woods, investigators were quietly asking a very different question inside that house. The key question. Here's promise 2, delivered. Investigators stopped believing the missing child story because the details didn't hold up. And once you hear why, you won't believe it either. A neighbor, identified only as Miss Young, told reporters something that stopped detectives cold. Javeayah never walked anywhere without holding someone's hand. Not across a street, not to the refrigerator inside her own home. So how exactly did she wander off alone into the woods? Other neighbors added more cracks in the story. Several hadn't seen Javeayah outside in weeks. Some said months. That directly contradicts Herring's claim that she played near the chicken coop that very evening. Here are 5 things that didn't add up. 1. Herring's description of that night stayed suspiciously rehearsed, almost word for word, every time she repeated it. 2. When detectives pushed for more detail, small facts shifted. The exact spot, the exact moment she noticed Javeayah missing. 3. Medical records showed Javeayah hadn't seen a doctor in a long time, despite reported health concerns. 4. Neighbors' timelines placed her indoors or absent for weeks before the 911 call, not playing outside that night. 5. Forensic teams searching inside the home found something in the carpeting, walls, and furniture that raised serious concern. Piece by piece, detectives built a timeline that didn't match anything Herring told dispatchers. And once forensic results started coming back, investigators reached a devastating conclusion. Javeayah had died roughly 1 month before that 911 call was ever made. Every search, every volunteer, every prayer, it all happened after she was already gone. Did you catch the never walked without holding someone's hand detail before we said it? Tell us in the comments if you spotted it. Once investigators stopped believing the story, they finally asked the question no one wanted answered. What actually happened to Javeayah? The truth arrest warrants confirm what investigators feared. Javeayah died from an untreated injury caused by physical abuse. Neither parent ever sought help. The warrants describe both parents in blunt, damning language. Extreme indifference to human life. Herring is named as the source of that injury. Harris is charged for knowing and doing nothing. Then Herring admitted something even worse. She disposed of her daughter's body somewhere else entirely, far from the house everyone searched. That's why search efforts eventually stretched toward Chester County. She let the world search one location, while the truth sat in another. Now here's the detail that stops people cold every time we cover this case. The same night Herring made that frantic 911 call, she gave birth to another baby. If that detail shocks you as much as it shocked us, hit like right now, because you need to hear where that baby ended up. That newborn didn't go home with Herring or Harris. DSS placed the baby with extended family immediately, the same night. A woman who hid her daughter's death for a month gave birth to another child hours after lying to detectives about an abduction. Sit with that. She held a newborn in her arms the same night she was still pretending Javeayah was simply lost in the woods. Both parents remain behind bars, held without bond, with court dates already set. How does someone conceal a death for a month while pregnant, then give birth the same night she reports a fake abduction? Tell us what you think was really going through her mind. But even with the warrants filed and the truth confirmed, one thing investigators still can't explain is why. The unresolved close. Let's recap what you now know. Javeayah Harris died roughly a month before her parents ever called 911. Her mother invented a detailed, convincing story about an abduction. Hundreds of volunteers searched woods and fields for a little girl who was already gone. Forensic evidence and neighbor testimony slowly tore that story apart. Both parents now face homicide charges. Michelle Herring also faces a false police report charge. Bond hearings are scheduled within 30 days. Court dates are already set for both of them. But here's what nobody has answered yet. Not investigators, not prosecutors, not the courts. Why did two parents let their daughter's condition worsen without ever getting help? Why maintain the lie for weeks? Why let an entire community search for someone they knew would never be found? That question still doesn't have a public answer. Maybe it never will, not fully. If this case affected you the way it affected us, subscribe now, because we're following this story through every court date until there's a verdict. If you were on that jury, what would you need to hear to understand why this happened? Tell us below. We'll see you in the next one.